Hi everyone, it's Emma and I'm sorry that I have been so absent on my YouTube in the last couple of weeks. I've been focusing on posting on Instagram and Facebook, so YouTube has kind of gone into the back seat, but no worries, I'm here to rectify that right now. So, life update. I've been so busy working in Blender and doing my advanced module through the Interior Design Institute. If you guys haven't already seen that on Instagram, I've been posting all of my mini projects that I've been working on in Blender, as well as talking about my studies on IDI through my stories. And if you guys haven't checked it out, if you go and visit my Instagram, on my highlights reel, I have IDI studies listed there. So please be sure to go and check that out so that you can see it from start to today. From the beginning of my studies to what I've done up until today. So I thought that I'd just pop up here on YouTube and talk about my experiences of both things so far. I want to go over these very busy times of my life in a lot more detail to share with you guys so that you understand how busy I actually have been. I want to talk about Blender first. My first mini project in Blender was watching the tutorial that Blender Guru had created. If you just tap into YouTube Blender Guru, he comes up. And I've been following him for many years and I've always appreciated the level of detail and the depth of explanation that he gives every time that he creates something. It's mind-blowing to me, and I just wanted to so desperately be able to express how much potential Blender really truly has to elevate all of our interior design projects. So circling back to the main point is that he created this Mexican inspired room, and I took inspiration from that, but because I don't have the same resources as he does through Polygon, I had to improvise a little bit to give it my own vibe. And so in his tutorial he also goes into the lattice in front of the window. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but I'll make sure to put something somewhere so that you can see what I'm talking about. So I had to go in and create that from scratch from my own memory of how to do stuff prior to 3 months ago. So that little room that he says you can create a room in 9 minutes actually ended up taking me 3 hours. But considering that I haven't been using Blender in the last 3 months, I thought that that was pretty good to get it done in 3 hours instead of days. Which in the beginning, when I did the flaming sword and the donut that I showed you guys last time, that took me more like a week to do the donut, and then the flaming sword from start to finish, including all of the animation and the rendering and the downloading of the footage that I made in Blender, took closer to 2 weeks. So as you can see, learning a software like Blender does take dedication. However, it is well worth it in the end, because I still, to this day, look at my computer after I've made something and think, oh my gosh, I actually created that and it rendered beautifully, like I just took a picture of a room, and it still just flabbergasts me. Now, I'm not saying that to make Kuhom or SketchUp or any of our other resources look lesser than. That is definitely not the case. They are still really great softwares to use, and I still want to go into that and to show you guys how I use those softwares. But the whole point of the series was to show you guys how much more elevated our work can become when showing clients the design process from start to finish. And the second little mini project that I did was that little coastal room that I called Coastal Calm. I left the links in those posts of the tutorial that I followed in creating that room, and I must say I did learn quite a lot that I didn't know actually could be done in Blender. And I think that that's the point. The more tutorials you do of the same thing, but slightly a different twist or style. Like Blender Guru's room that I recreated myself looks a lot different to the coastal room that I created following the second tutorial because I put my own twist and spin on it. And the reason that I changed the original theme in my second mini project from what it was into a more coastal vibe is simply because I am really inspired by the coast. That might sound strange, but I love the ocean. Whenever I think of holiday, I think beach, I think sunshine, I think ocean waves and salt in the air and listening to the ocean through seashells. And so I love drawing inspiration of those elements of holiday, like the relaxation and lounging around all day and not feeling bad about just sitting and watching TV or lying down on the beach getting a suntan for the entire day, which I have done. So I love taking those elements of nostalgia and calm and relaxation and the sense of letting go of all of those frustrations and stresses, and I want to bring that into our everyday living in our homes. So the main inspiration behind recreating that space of what it was just as a house in a suburb with a garden out the window, I wanted to take these inspirations that I love so much and bring them into this design to recreate it as my very own. And if you guys have any other ideas or suggestions of what you want to see next that I create in Blender for interiors, whether it's a bedroom or a bathroom or a kitchen or a laundry room or storage solutions, so please let me know in the comments. I'd love to know your thoughts. And also, while we're on the subject, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions about these two rooms that I've created so far in Blender and what you think about them. Now comes the time where I talk to you guys about my advanced module for kitchen and bathroom design. So let me give you a snapshot into what it normally looks like. So when you enroll in the Interior Design Institute and you start from module 1 all the way to module 12, you are generally looking at between 60 and 90 pages per module, which includes the assignment and the explanation of what you need to do and the resources that are available and how to submit it. So it took me between 7 and 14 days to read through and to take notes before I could start my assignments. Now for this advanced module for kitchen and bathroom design, the module is typed up to 150 pages.
I love learning, I love learning, I love learning.
Half of me is so thrilled that I get to actually do this course and that I have these resources at my fingertips. But the other half of me is like, okay, you gotta like pump yourself up every day. Because design is always changing and growing and evolving. And as you're learning, you are absorbing so much at a time. And that is why I take my time. So much at a time, so I take my time. Okay. So I really enjoy going at a slower pace. But I think for the average person who is doing these studies as well, I think generally everyone is going much faster than me. But that's okay, because I don't see it as a race. Everyone is different and everyone works at different paces that are good for them. And also, I'm not necessarily on a time crunch. However, when you do purchase an advanced module, you get a 6-month time frame to work within to complete the module and submit the assignment. But there are always other options of purchasing extension time if necessary. So not to stress. So on my Instagram, you guys will be able to see my stories of what I've done so far, just to give you a little insight, as I mentioned earlier. But now I want to go into a lot more detail to show you guys how involved and how important these studies are in furthering our knowledge and being able to apply all of this new knowledge into unique projects that are ahead of us with every client, because every client is unique and different, and the more resources and the more learning you have and the more you are exposed to unique situations and all the options that we get to offer our clients, then the easier it becomes to problem solve these little things. And knowing that we have so much information right at our disposal through the Interior Design Institute is an amazing peace of mind. And so, because I take notes like nobody's taken notes before, I have summarized everything that I have done this far, right down to my little cover page. And the module starts off with kitchens first, that it has provided me with so much valuable information that I've had so many moments about finally understanding what that word means and what that actually is. So this has been extremely valuable. So let me break it down for you. As you can see, the first thing that they go through is the introduction, basically a general overview or food for thought before diving in to all of the specifics. And the very first thing I learned is that kitchen and bathrooms are the most complex areas of design for designers, which I 100% agree with. Another very important thing to keep in mind is that kitchen and bathrooms generally take up a very large or larger portion of the budget of most projects, whether you are doing a renovation or you are preparing your house to sell. The bottom line is that there's a lot more involved, I guess you could say, into kitchen and bathroom design because of plumbing and electricity and all these little details that we might not realize, but they do require a lot more care and thought in order to deliver the best kitchen and bathroom within the space that we have. That is exactly what our clients need. Today, kitchens are no longer just a room in the house where you can go and find your midnight snack. Kitchens have become these elevated spaces of calm, family-friendly spaces, also where we can all gather together and eat and drink and spend time with our family while the one person is cooking in the kitchen and the other people that have been invited over can sit down and interact with the cook as well as the other guests while they sit by the breakfast bar of the kitchen or across the island. Kitchens have broken the barriers of this is for one space because it has now become open plan, where we are integrating kitchens with living rooms as well, and also for the dining. So it is very important that we understand the seamlessness of design needed for these kitchens. This doesn't necessarily mean that every client you will have wants an open plan kitchen, but I still think that it is really important to remember that kitchens are not just one little isolated spaces in a house anymore. It needs to be able to have an easy flow and function to the rest of the home. Bathroom design has also changed a lot. It is now being described as like a luxurious escape, somewhere that resembles spa-like treatment.
Okay.
And I think that it is important because a bathroom is an isolated space versus what a kitchen is. A bathroom is the escape from the stresses of the day, of just needing some time to yourself after you've put the kids to bed and you just need some of your own me time in a nice bubble bath. Whatever it is that is external pressures disappears as soon as you walk into a bathroom. You want to be able to close the door and light some candles, have some beautiful smells and bath bombs, and be able to shower and be refreshed and renewed within this space. Okay, now that the overview is done, I want to get into more specific detail about residential kitchen design. One of the first things that I learned about residential kitchen design is that kitchens can also be considered as the mission control center of the home. Why? Because kitchens are the hub of family life. It needs to be a place of joy. It needs to bring that all is welcome vibe. And it's got to be uplifting too. We know that kitchens are used to provide food, but that is not the only food you can get. There's also food for the soul. Lots of important conversations happen within a kitchen. Think about it. One of the wisdom nuggets of this chapter is that design should always start with what can't be changed or what is very difficult to change. Everything else will then fall into place after that has been dealt with. A great example of that is plumbing, because either it is very difficult to relocate or the house has been built on a concrete slab, which means that the sink and dishwashers and all the things to do with plumbing will have very limited options of where they can be located. The next thing you need to be aware of is the work triangle. You gotta know your work triangles. They are the key to having functionality in your kitchen. There are different types of kitchen work triangles. The first one is a straight kitchen. Second is the parallel kitchen. Third is the L-shaped kitchen. Fourth is the U-shaped kitchen. Sixth is the G-shaped kitchen. And seventh is the island. So all of these work triangles can be integrated into the different types of kitchens that you can get, like the one-wall kitchen and the two-galley kitchen and the island kitchen and the L-shaped. There are reasons behind why they are named this way. So for example, the one-wall kitchen is basically described as a single unit placed against one wall. And these type of kitchens are perfect for apartments or terrace homes. And to maximize on functionality, it should be at least 3 meters long in total to ensure sufficient benchtop space. AKA, this is what I meant by the straight kitchen. It's also known as the one-wall kitchen. The next chapter is kitchen planning. There are lots of things to consider when it comes to kitchen planning. You have to put yourself in your client's position. What have they told you that they need? What are the activities that take place within this space? We need to think of food, storage, cook, prep, cleanup. We also need to take into consideration all of the eating. How many meals are eaten within this kitchen space? Are there only some, or is it all meals? When I mentioned the mission control center hub of the home earlier, this is what I'm talking about. Sometimes lots of household management takes place within the kitchen, like paying your bills or ticking off on the little notice board of all the tasks that need to be done during the day and filling in all of your kids' activities too. Kitchens are also all about entertaining, whether you are serving drinks or hors d'oeuvres before the main meal. Something else that I thought should have been obvious to me, but for some reason I was like, oh, wow, okay, I forgot about that, is that sometimes your kids do their homework in the kitchen as well, or adults do their studies, or teenagers. And also basically anything recreational, whether it's board games or listening to the radio or watching TV, all of these things can happen within a kitchen space. I want to share with you guys some other quick little tips and tricks that I think is very useful to keep in mind when thinking about the work triangle of the kitchen. The first one being to save maximum energy. The side of the triangle between the sink and the stove should be quite short. There shouldn't be a sink or an island in the way or tall cabinets between these 2 points. And my second tip is that each point of the triangle should incorporate a set down space, meaning a workbench space, where you can unload and load things, like on adjoining countertops. To create 3 work centers, the next chapter is kitchen ergonomics. I'm not going to bore you with all the math and the numbers as I mentioned in my stories on Instagram, but the bottom line is that there are recommended guidelines for heights and depths of countertops and cabinets to prevent back strain or any other discomfort that you can experience within a kitchen. But this is very important. You still have to think, number one, of the client. So if they are particularly short or tall, or if they have a disability that you need to account for, or any other specifics that might alter these recommended guidelines, you have to go by the client's needs. These are just the general guides of what the right comfort levels are for functionality in a kitchen. And the last chapter that I've been working on is kitchen selections, which I still have not finished yet. This is a really long chapter. I'm quite surprised. It's been more than 10 pages so far. And the first topic of kitchen selections is all about cabinetry. They play such an important role to any kitchen design. Now, something else that I wasn't really aware of, or I didn't take special note of, was the fact that you get different types of cabinets. Is that just me? But I didn't really think. I see a cabinet and I see a cabinet. But anyway, let's move past that awkward moment. The first one is modular cabinetry. My number one highlight of modular cabinetry is that it is great on limited budgets, which, let's be honest, most people do have a limited budget, so this is a very good solution for that problem. They are also known as pre-made or stock or RTA, ready to assemble cabinets. Something else to keep in mind though is that while appealing to the wallet and the limited budget, design options are very much more limited when it comes to modular design because most of it is mass produced. Because when looking through the catalog, you'll see that there are limited sizes, colors, styles. So if you have a client who has a non-standard kitchen layout or who wants something more unique or a feature to their kitchen, you might struggle quite a bit with modular cabinetry just because of these limitations. However, going back to the pro of being friendly to the wallet is that a lot of homeowners can just go, buy their cabinetry, install it themselves to save on labor costs if you're just doing a simple renovation or your kitchen cabinetry just needs a little facelift or you're trying to sell your property so it needs to look a little bit more clean with a fresh bank of cabinets. That's fine. That saves on a lot of costs and labor, so that's a big tick. The second option is semi-custom cabinetry. Reason for that is because not only is it budget friendly, but there are also so many more options and flexibility of design styles and choices that it's just a no-brainer. You'll have a wider selection of door styles, of paint, of finishes, and what type of wood you want. And the already available stock sizes and standard features can then be combined with the available modifications that the client would want for upgrades and for their own unique little flair. However, just keep in mind that choosing all of these little special upgrades or having that little bit of extra flair in the bells and whistles will increase the cost and the budget accordingly. And finally, we have custom cabinets. Custom cabinets are built from scratch. And who are they built by? Usually by the locals, such as local carpenters or cabinet makers. And this is why it eliminates all design restrictions and limitations. You can choose your door style. You can choose the type of wood that you want. You can choose your paint, color, your finishes, any kind of combinations that your hearts desire. The best way that I remember all of these little details is that I love to think of custom cabinetry as an antidote or the cure to a design headache where you have awkward spaces or unique problems that you have to solve as the interior designer for your client. All I can think about is that you go straight to custom cabinetry where you can create the most unique size, design, style that suits that specific kitchen to alleviate that design problem. The biggest con though that you have to remember is that because you are working with customized materials and increased labor costs, you will be paying a lot more for custom cabinetry and it'll take a lot longer to deliver the final product. The next thing I learned is that there are 3 kinds of cabinets. You get base cabinets, you get wall cabinets, and you get the tall or pantry cabinet. Think of base cabinets as workhorses. We owe them a lot of gratitude because first of all, they have countertops laid on them, like heavy countertops. We put sinks in them. We have drawers and dishwashers and all the plumbing stuff as well can be installed within them, as well as for storing all of our pots and pans and all the other tools and appliances and equipment that we store within base cabinets. They are the most expensive of all of the kitchen cabinetry because of how necessary and robust they are and need to be. Wall cabinets are primarily used to store food and lightweight kitchen items. As the name suggests, they are attached directly to the wall studs with screws. However, there are certain unique cases where you might need to hang a bank of cabinetry above a peninsula or an island, or maybe even directly from the ceiling. And the reason I said that is because wall cabinets are the most visual and visible wall cabinets in your kitchen. So some consider this a showpiece. Tall cabinets or the pantry cabinets are generally installed in the alcove next to the refrigerator. These cabinets generally extend from the floor to the ceiling. I'll briefly list the cabinet door styles because, again, I didn't know that was necessarily a thing. When I see a cabinet, I see a cabinet. I didn't really take time to appreciate the fact that there are different door styles. The first one is the shaker style. The second one is the flat style. Third is the beadboard country style. Fourth, tongue and groove. Fifth, gloss. And sixth, the inset. And briefly, door finishes. The first one is clear polyurethane. Next is 2-pack, spelt 2PAK or 2-PAC. Then we have the melamine option, then laminate, and lastly the vinyl or vinyl wrap option. All of these finishes have different durability, scratch resistance, wear and tear, all of those things. So keep your client in mind and what the intention of the kitchen durability will be, as well as available budget. And that pretty much sums up cabinetry. That is a lot. That's a mouthful. So maybe now you can understand why I take so many notes. The next topic's going to be countertops. Please stay tuned on my YouTube. I promise to do my best to stay more regular on YouTube
For my very few subscribers.
But I love and appreciate all of you who are watching, who like and comment and share, and just help me make my dreams come true of helping people and changing the world one design at a time. And another quick friendly reminder that I post every Wednesday and Friday on my Instagram and Facebook specifically, and I was doing that on YouTube as well, but like I said, things have been crazy and now you know why. So thank you all so much. I hope that this inspires you, and if it does, go check out the Interior Design Institute. You will not regret it. It has been the most amazing experience so far, and if you've watched any of my other videos, you know just how much it has changed my life, and I want it to change your life too. Okay guys, bye! I'll see you next time.